Hello, members. Welcome to Things Invest. Talk about investing, finance, and professional development for today's systems only. The investment talk today will be Ethereum to ETH. So it's my second posting as of today. Respect to recording time of 2:49 p.m. on the Eastern time. Ethereum current trading $2,854, down about 3.20% so far. Respect to overall crypto market and the equity market is relatively bearish today, with the bond yield seems to be spiking today, and obviously that's a trigger from the Federal Reserve on how they're triangulating with respect to the quantitative tapering plan. It seems like today is kind of a reverse type of affectation on spiking the yields, and when that happens, that will be obviously have a seismic effect onto the earnings potential, or with respect to the interest payment potential that corporate companies or personal debt holdings will subsequently be incurred, right? And when bond yields increases, basically what that means on a conceptual level, on the most basic level, is that the debt is the interest payment for the debt appreciates, right? And when that happens, that means you have to pay a higher rate for the debt you incur, and which as corporate companies or as personal savings account, when the banks is saying like, hey, I'm going to charge you 8% interest rate instead of 4%, obviously everybody going to be screaming, crying, running up for the hills. And hopefully I'm not being too animated on driving the sell-off that we're seeing today. So with respect to the news on Ethereum, we are currently just floating around the $2,850. And as you know, per our technical videos that we've been doing so far, that's not really a substantive level, right? The real level is the 2,750, nor, or the 3,150, and the next leap down would be the $2,450. So we are just at the mid of it, just floating away. And then with respect to the news, again, right, talk about just capturing the last 6 hours in terms of news frame so far. 2 hours ago from Cointelegraph, talk about the signs of fear emerges as Ethereum price drops below $3,000 again. So this is basically their depictions on their technical analysis. It's I would say is informative, but in terms of like substantiveness on like what's the tactical way of approaching it in the more of a risk management perspective, that's something we can dive into a little bit more. But Cointelegraph, I respect their analysis, I respect their depictions, but sometimes their technicals might be a little bit questionable. But ultimately, they are media companies, so whenever you read what they're telling you, you obviously have to spike up your spidey sense, if you may, right? And filter out what they say, and then filter out that in your brain while canceling out all the emotions to identify what's the truth behind the message that you're seeing, right? And then the other one talking about with respect to Bazinga 2 hours ago, second largest Ethereum miner shut down operations. So this is with respect to the news that we already heard like the last 2 days with respect to China crackdown. And this is just another regurgitation talk about the second largest Ethereum miner, which is based out of China, obviously, shut down its operation, which subsequently will drive some imbalance in the supply and demand dynamics in the ecosystem. And then the other one talk about on Decrypt 3 hours ago, crypto market sheds $73 billion. Ethereum, Solana, Avalanche hits harder than Bitcoin. The reason we are seeing, more of a more seismic hit onto coins that are smaller is mainly because of the fact that these coins have a lower entry price in comparisons to obviously Bitcoin. And for altcoin especially will get hit even more, harder, and especially if you take a look across the spectrum right now, Solana is down about 8.17%, XRP down about 3%, Polkadot is down about 4.11% right now, and in comparisons to Bitcoin, which is down about like 2%, so it's kind of like chilling on a sideways fashion, just like cool as a cucumber, if you may. But it's a reason because it's a more of a stable coin, right? And I would say Ethereum would be in part of that characterization as well, as we are obviously evolving this value proposition going forward. So I guess you could agree with what the article is saying, but It's just a more of an informative one, nothing really persuasive or substantive, if you may. And then the other one on CoinDesk 4 hours ago, Chinese Ethereum mining pool B pool to shut down following crackdown. Another news talk about the China crackdown, obviously, with their enforcement. And then the other one on Bazinga 5 hours ago, talk about Ethereum decreased more than 4% within the last 24 hours, if you may, right? I would say it's actually a little bit more than that. If you are counting from, obviously the 3,150 to all the way to the 2,750 on some exchanges. So it's actually more than 4%, but they are, writing within a certain time frame of spectrum, right? So I'm not going to be, picky around that. On the next one, 5 hours ago, Ethereum miner returns erroneously high $22 million of gas fee to the Phoenix wallet. This is, another topic of discussions with respect to the high gas fee that Ethereum seems like is still, cultivating some problem. Despite the London fork debut that we've had, that's shifting to 2.0. That was one of their problems that they were planning on fixing. Seems like, this is still something that they are working on. We have to be patient, as this is a relatively new technology. And technology is something that's innovative. It's never going to be just static. So it's evolving over time, but something that we know as a current state of mind at the moment, right? And then that's pretty much it on the news overall. So let's go straight into the technicals real quick. So right now we're just kind of hovering away, right? There's no signs of reversal yet on the MACD. RSI is at the 39 out of 70, so it's an okay level. But again, right, the 2,750 would be the dip, so I'll just wait until that level. And I think 2,450 should technically be possible, knowing the fact that, we are still within that bearish signal with the head and shoulder again, right? So something would be mindful of. So the marching order is still the same. I have not changed it for the last 2 months so far. For Bitcoin, I would say it's comparable. I would say they're fairly similar. Buying the dip would be ideal at the 40K, 37, and 34. Dogecoin is very oversold right now, so I think buying the dip right now is not a bad idea. I think people are holding off right now. And I would say with respect to the technical on the MACD, it is forming a, it's not like a huge separation, and I think they are, bound to cross, and the fact they have not crossed in a long time. So I think Dogecoin is actually a very attractive level right now. Solana, we are closing in on the $2 mark at the 207. Down about 4% right now. So I think the dip would be technically the $2, but if you would break that $2, which you can see is not that substantive, I think the 187 would be logical to buy, knowing the fact that with the 30 out of 70, we've crossed for quite some time now. So 187 would technically be the dip. 145 would be a very, I don't think will be quite logical for us to get there, knowing the fact that it's a relatively large deep down, and if we were to go down to 145, we'll basically destroy the RSI scale basically, and that would not be technically possible. So I think 187 would be the dip. Solana, again, we are the search that we saw yesterday was mainly coming from public investors, right? And right now we're just selling back down because of public investors again. So we are just having that kind of a jerk oscillation sideways fashion from public investors specifically. And everything is still bearish on this sign. We are still leaning down. The ball is still falling with the 46 out of 70. So it's not a good level to buy it right now. I would say 112 again, 96, and 66 would be the level I would personally buy at. XRP is 88 would be a good level again, right? I think we're closing in on it, so that will be the dip. I think we have the 39 of 70, so it's not a bad level, and we have not crossed it in a while now. So I think 88, 78 would be a great level to dollar cost average at. Polkadot, we're closing in on the $25 level. So I think by the time we get to 25, the RSI will be relatively depleted back to the 35. And that should technically be the reversal, because that's a relatively substantive level to, as a platform. And again, if we break the 25 or 26, we'll have to go down to the 22. So risk versus reward ratio is not a bad idea at all. Oops. So with respect to the cheat sheet, we know that we are within the anger and, I would say more of a preliminary depression stage as well. And you will see like these type of oscillations, not like a flat line, right? We're not just gonna be like flat completely. You're gonna form some scar tissue, maybe some scab that you need to pick on a little bit for you to like, you know, I'm trying to like make. I don't know if that's the right analogy, if you may, but the pain is gonna be slow. You're gonna incur more like downward pressure because of the head and shoulder, and it's something that we are not. It's not a surprise, right? We've been talking about this for quite some time now. And with respect to the good frame of reference in a risk mitigation perspective, again, right, the 3,000 would be the level we crossed already. So 2,750 is coming, 2,450 would be a good level to dollar cost average at. And if we break below that, we will obviously have to revise the technical frames. But in the meantime, these are the logical levels to do so. And based on the technicals right now, the bottoms technically would be anywhere close to about 2,450. But let's say you bought at the 4,000, right? And you're probably like, frustrated with yourself. But don't worry about it. Just hold it for a long term, because long term wise, we'll get to these levels above. And this is just the beginning of the crypto, evolutions that we'll be seeing for the decades ahead of us going forward. So really appreciate you. I'm very very happy, that you guys are so supportive and so kind to me this morning as well. Caring about my health, caring about my emotional health at the same time, not just my physical one. But good news again. Ever since that CNBC debut that I did last week on Wednesday, I've been having some more tractions with respect to just me recruiting for my partner, a third partner, hiring an intern, but I'm also going to be debuting on another media platform coming up, a relatively reputable magazine as well. So I'm going to be working with a producer as well. So I'm very excited for it. I cannot wait, frankly. And it's all due to you guys. Like, you guys keep me motivated. You guys keep me sane. It's tough to be when you're like by yourself, doing this every single day by yourself. Obviously with my teammates, but I am the head of the firm that I'm building right now. So everything has to be precise, has to be well thought out. My reputation is on the line, right? And that's why I really appreciate your friendship. You guys are mentally supporting me. But yeah, that's all I want to say. Have a good rest of the Tuesday coming up, and you'll probably see me again later tomorrow morning, if my schedule is not too busy. Hopefully you guys have a good day, and stay tuned for what's come up. Take care.